This podcast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson of Central Pennsylvania. Renewal by Anderson of Central Pennsylvania turns 27 this month and wants to thank you, the customer, with their biggest ever new customer discount, the Thank You for 27 Years sale. Get 25% off every window and every door with no payments for 24 months with special financing from now until June 30th. To learn more, visit rbacentralpadeals.com or call 717-523-9509. Almost 20% of Pennsylvanians who had to renew their Medicaid coverage have lost it. In Philadelphia, it's the Battle of the Orchestras. The State Game Commission's first ever online sale of doe hunting licenses didn't go all too well. Lastly, this bear sees Gettysburg from a different perspective. I'm Claudia Dimuro, and you're listening to Today in PA. There was a policy during COVID that allowed for people to keep their Medicaid coverage without having to complete the re-enrollment paperwork that's usually required every 12 months, reports WESA. That policy ended April 1st, and almost 20% of Pennsylvanians, or 90,000 of them, who had to renew their coverage have lost it. Over half of them lost the coverage because they weren't eligible anymore, most likely because their income was too high to stay in the program, while the remaining were removed for procedural reasons, like failing to return the paperwork. Many of the renewals undertaken in the last 2 months are still incomplete, so the amount of people that will ultimately lose Medicaid remains to be seen. The Philly Pops is a Philadelphia-based orchestra that plays pop music, reports Philly Voice. And in April, it filed an antitrust lawsuit against the 123-year-old Philadelphia Orchestra, who it claims used unlawful tactics to force it out of business and create a monopoly in the city. According to the suit, the Philly Pops states the Philadelphia Orchestra, which uses the same ticketing system as they do, used the Pops' proprietary email list to offer people gift certificates for tickets to its performances. And while the orchestra has access to this information, a Philly Pop spokesperson explained they're not permitted to use it. The Philadelphia Orchestra denies they've overstepped such boundaries and in turn claimed it cut ties with Philly Pops in January because it failed to meet a deadline for a $520,000 payment, on top of being $1 million in debt and failing to honor other payments previously. A court hearing for the suit is scheduled for next week. It was 8 a.m. yesterday when the State Game Commission launched its first ever online sale and retail sale of doe hunting licenses, states PennLive. And according to someone commenting on Facebook, it was, quote, an absolute disaster. According to a post published by the commission, the system experienced, quote, widespread slowness and intermittent error, both online and in stores, unquote, because of a high volume of traffic. However, the commission did note that there are several rounds of 2023-24 license sales, so if you didn't get yours yet, feel free to click the link in the related podcast article to see when you can get it next. A bear saw Gettysburg from a different perspective on Sunday, says Fox 43. From up in a tree. Witnesses say that at around 8 in the morning, the bear casually walked into town and climbed up a tree, where it just sat and chilled for about an hour or so. Cops, together with game wardens, tranquilized the bear, removed it from the scene, and relocated it back to the woods from whence it came. That wraps up today's episode. For all the latest news, check out PennLive.com. And please remember to rate this podcast wherever you may listen to it and to leave it an honest review. Thank you kindly, and as always, thanks for listening. I'm Claudia Dimuro, and I'll be back again tomorrow for another round of Today in PA. This podcast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson of Central Pennsylvania. Renewal by Anderson of Central Pennsylvania turns 27 this month and wants to thank you, the customer, with their biggest ever new customer discount, the Thank You for 27 Years sale. Get 25% off every window and every door with no payments for 24 months with special financing from now until June 30th. To learn more, visit rbacentralpadeals.com or call 717-523-9509.